Today we're going to do a rhetorical analysis of Rudyard Kipling's poem If. So let's begin. The first thing you notice with this poem is that Kipling repeats the word if, or more specifically, if you can. This repetition at the beginning of a clause or phrase is called anaphora, and the purpose of using anaphora is to emphasize something. Kipling clearly seeks to emphasize the phrase, if you can. Now the word if is conditional, and conditional sentence constructions are used when one thing is contingent on something else. Conditional sentences cater to a person's sense of logic or logos because of its formulaic and logical flow. If you do this, then. In this case, Kipling's coupling of anaphora and the conditional statement if you can creates an instructive and didactic tone. The poem is clearly attempting to give advice or to teach. Now the use of you demonstrates that this poem was written in second person. And if you have background knowledge of this poem, you know that it is written by Kipling to his son. However, like many pieces of literature, this poem is interpreted as having universal appeal and can be read as giving advice or instruction to people in general. Looking at the first stanza, you can also see the repetition of don't. This imperative or command once again gives the message of the poem a didactic and instructive tone. It is not a pleading tone. The poem does not say, please don't do this. There's a confidence and assertiveness to the message, and this is created by repeating don't. The universality of the poem can also be felt as you look at the general message of the stanza. If you can keep your head when all about you are losing theirs and blaming it on you. In this case, keeping your head is instructing readers to stay calm, even when life is full of chaos and unfairness. And if you can wait and not be tired by waiting, or being lied about, don't deal in lies. Once again, there is universality to the message here. Be patient and don't lie. In the second stanza, Kipling employs personification by saying, if you can meet with triumph and disaster, and treat those two impostors just the same. Now, triumph and disaster can't literally be impostors because they're not human. However, comparing triumph and disaster to something deceptive, like an impostor, is a clever way of instructing people not to get too attached to triumphs or disasters. These situations are fleeting and will come and go just like impostors and human folly will. However, embedded in Kipling's message is the idea that you should remain immovable, that you should forge a character and value system that is strong, and that you should not be mastered by thoughts, but take action on ideas, and that you should be ready for liars to twist what you say because, well, human sin is inevitable, and that you should be ready to rebuild your life despite the inevitability of disaster. Now the theme of the third stanza is persistence and resilience. The repetition of and emphasizes loss, repeated loss. However, by saying start again at your beginnings, the poem once again preaches that despite your circumstances, you should overcome. The focus is on you and your character, and not what happens to you. The repetition of and can also be seen with if you can force your heart and nerve and sinew to serve your turn long after they are gone. The repetition of and here once again represents persistence. In the last line, accept the will which says to them, hold on, Kipling uses personification to represent one's will. A person's will can't literally exclaim, hold on. However, by using personification, Kipling demonstrates the resilience of the human spirit by referencing it as something separate from the actual person. The message is clear. Despite your inadequacies as a person, your will, that inner drive within you, can still fight and endure and push forward and exclaim, hold on. In the fourth and final stanza, Kipling emphasizes the importance of balance in a person's life. Kipling accomplishes this by making contrasts. If you can talk with crowds and keep your virtue, or walk with kings nor lose the common touch. Crowds are susceptible to groupthink, and in the name of the mob, doing terrible things. To combat this herd-like urge, you must remain virtuous, despite what others around you are thinking and doing. And kings are susceptible to, quote, losing the common touch, and not understanding the reality of the common person. To maintain humility, you must stay in tune with what is common or what the crowd thinks. This contrasting effect demonstrates, for Kipling, the necessity of balance in one's life. The second to last line, Kipling uses hyperbole to illuminate the great things that can happen for you if you do what is right and virtuous. You can't literally have the earth and everything that's in it. However, you can have a life that is authentic and rewarding if you follow the guidance given. Kipling uses dashes as a way of emphasizing the final line. The lines create more space between words, which create an emphatic pause. And in the final line, "You'll be a man, my son," Kipling capitalizes man and uses an exclamation point once again for emphasis. Here, the reward of doing all the things Kipling says is revealed. You'll be a man. Overall, Kipling employs a variety of rhetorical devices to try and influence readers, or more specifically his son, on what is necessary to be a good person.